So the country is, and some Republicans seem to be maybe learning a lesson around some of the racist conspiracy theories that they've been spouting in the wake of the Buffalo massacre that left 10 people dead and wounded 13, which was again carried out by an 18-year-old radicalized white nationalist, self-avowed white nationalist. Specifically, that theory that is sticking among some Republicans and among the country at large is the idea of the Great Replacement theory, whereby people of color are replacing white people, and for some reason that's being orchestrated. And there's a lot of criticism falling on one lawmaker who actually happens to be representing a district that's not so far from Buffalo. So upstate New York Representative Elise Stefanik, the third ranking member of the House GOP, has faced the most criticism for pushing the Great Replacement theory since the shooting. A series of paid Facebook ads her campaign ran last fall explicitly used Great Replacement theory rhetoric. So just take a look at some of those ads. Here we've got Elise Stefanik on Facebook saying, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and Nancy Pelosi are attempting to flood our voter rolls with 11 million new voters by giving illegal immigrants amnesty. And then stop election insurrection. That's cute because there was another election insurrection. And here you go, here's another one. Radical Democrats are planning their most aggressive move yet, a permanent election insurrection. Their plan to grant amnesty to 11 million illegal immigrants will overthrow our current electorate and create a permanent liberal majority in Washington. So that is exactly and precisely the kind of conspiracy theories that the shooter in Buffalo was espousing himself. And he believed that it was his job to kill as many black people on that day. And in general, the conclusion of the Great Replacement theory is to kill people of color, to actually act on that. It's not just this is happening. That is the natural conclusion that has been espoused by white nationalists on the internet. And so you might think that a lawmaker once called out on this, especially in the wake of a tragedy or a massacre that is tragic, that maybe one of those politicians would back off of that rhetoric. Instead, nope. Representative Stefanik, Elise Stefanik, just doubled down. So here she is tweeting yesterday, the American people are smart. It's a fact that Democrats have been explicitly pushing for amnesty for years, specifically for political and electoral purposes. That just happened. Dan, I mean, God, you tell me, man, do you see broad amnesty being offered to 11 million undocumented people at the top of the Democrats list right now?
It's one of Joe Biden's major policy proposals, along with canceling student loans and universal health care. We all have known, we've covered this for a long time, that Republicans live in a fantasy world. They have their own media entities and they believe whatever they're being spoon-fed. What's changing right now is that what used to be on the outskirts of the conservative movement, still very much prominent. Your Steve Bannons, who at the time were very connected to Donald Trump. A lot of these folks have been pushing this Great Replacement theory. And I love what you just said there, because this is a theory, it's a term, like critical race theory, Great Replacement theory. We all know these things, but outside of theory and practice, what this means is that Black people, people of color, honestly, it even gets down to women at a certain point, are in this secret mix, a secret plot to ultimately take over and brown American society or brown European society. The answer, once you jump out of theory to stop that, always ends up being violence. And when we expect our elected leaders to be a little more cautious and careful around these things, not doing stochastic terrorism and stoking up these fears and resentments, completely baseless, by the way, we would at least expect them to have some conscience, ideally, to be able to say, no, the buck stops with here. I'm not pushing for like racist theories, but Trump taught them that this stuff works, this stuff wins you voters, and you can use those voters to entrench power to do what you really want to do, which is silence the votes of Black people who can legally vote in this country from actually expressing themselves politically, because that's helped the Democratic Party a lot. So This is all a big picture thing for Republican takeover and control. That's scary.
Absolutely, and we'll get to some of the Republicans who are like, hey, remember when we just did this on the low? Let's do it on the low again. You're doing it on the high, and I want to change that. See, here's my perspective as someone who's mixed race in terms of like, white people being replaced and disappearing. Nah, the census says actually there are more mixed people than there are POC. And what does that mean? So if you were to take a white supremacist view of that mixing, then automatically me as a Chinese Italian person becomes Chinese only, right? There's not another white person, there's another Asian person in this country, which is utter racist nonsense. And it is that one drop rule theory that goes back to slavery and being 3/5 of a person. So let's talk about like also the way the liberal media in a way, the liberal media in quotes, but like the CNNs, the MSNBCs, and people who regurgitate stats around demographic changes as if there are suddenly more people. Nah, the fastest growing group is actually just mixed people, and they're all mixed with white. White people are just setting up franchises, y'all. Like there's just more white people out there. I don't know why we never see it that way.
Absolutely right. I'll say one other thing, because Cliff Albright, who is one of the founders of Black Voters Matter, said something on this that was really akin to this, because there is a history of this. America was founded on great replacement theory, quoting him, Europeans literally replaced indigenous nations and took their land. All right, so this has been something in history. We've tried to go around this and saying, nope, we have a democracy. We'll eventually let women and Black people and people of color vote. But now you're looking at the removal of those rights for the same ultimate manifest destiny goal.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.